Tom Hardy is one of the most talented and versatile actors in Hollywood, proving himself time and time again with knockout performances in a wide range of genres over the course of his career. Whether he's playing a heartthrob, a villain, or a tough guy, Hardy always brings his A-game, making it hard to pick a favorite. So today, let's take a look at some of the star's best movies, ranked from good to great, starting off with Layer Cake. The film is best known as the launching point for both its star Daniel Craig and writer-director Matthew Vaughn, who used it to announce himself as a filmmaker with a distinct, chaotic style. Although Craig would eventually land himself the role of James Bond following this first major leading role, many other stars contributed to making this classic, including Hardy, who delivers a memorable performance as Clarky the drug dealer. The film revolves around the life of a career criminal called XXXX, whose retirement plans from the smuggling business are put on hold after he's caught in the crossfires of a major conspiracy involving several missing shipments and a mob boss's daughter. Much like XXXX, Clarky also wished to leave this violent world behind him. However, his failure to do so adds to the film's dark comedy. Although his screen time is pretty brief, Hardy gave quite a captivating performance, helping find the unique balance between action and humor that Bond's known for. Hardy delivers on both fronts, the frantic gunfights and his sharp dialogue, remaining a charismatic character throughout the run. And although Craig was a magnetic performer, Hardy never seemed to be overshadowed by him, and their interplay just goes to add further tension to the film's already hectic world. Next up, we have Black Hawk Down. This action flick helped in launching several careers, as the film about the Somalian War boasted a star-studded cast of both established and several up-and-coming performers. This included Hardy, who made his Hollywood debut in the film as Lance Twombly, a soldier seeing combat for the very first time after he and his partner Nelson get caught behind enemy lines. It also features many acts of heroism, and multiple engaging storylines are one of the reasons why the film is so immersive. Lance and Nelson's exploits are arguably the best in the film, as the duo ends up getting cut off from the rest of their team and are forced to rely on each other in order to survive. Their bromance and light comedic banter were also amusing to watch, since Nelson had been deafened by a gunshot early on in the film, forcing Lance to shout every time they had to communicate. With this, Hardy showed how he could easily add humor to a scene without having to sacrifice the gravity of the situation they were in. These personal touches to each character put Black Hawk Down above many other similar films, as we begin to care for each of the characters as people rather than just a bunch of randoms on our screen. Following up is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Although John le Carre's works have inspired many films over the years, this 2011 flick is among the best. The Cold War story boasts a stacked cast, with Gary Oldman playing the role of George Smiley, a master intelligence officer who gets called out of retirement for an important mission. Among Smiley's allies is the lethal assassin Ricky Tarr, played by Hardy, who ends up getting framed for an intelligence breach. Although the film story features a broad range of characters, Tarr stands out, with Hardy embodying the role of a field agent so consumed by work that he no longer understood what normal life looked like. While Oldman delivered some of his greatest performances ever, Hardy manages to easily keep up with the legendary star whenever the two shared the screen. Hardy also perfectly captures Tarr's sympathetic side, as he's seen helping an abused woman although the mission didn't call for it, showing the softer side of a character who'd been so far defined mostly by his violence. At the halfway point in our list is Warrior. Despite being portrayed as an inspiring sports story, the film is an emotionally devastating examination of a fractured family forced to reckon with the sins of their past, who could only reconnect through combat. Although there are many standout performances throughout the film's run, Hardy shines even brighter. The film tells the story of two brothers, Tommy and Brendan Conlon, who haven't seen each other ever since their childhood, since they both left home early in order to escape the abuse of their alcoholic father, Paddy. Both brothers would go on to pursue mixed martial arts in their spare time, eventually becoming pretty strong athletes. Our protagonist, Brendan, has a job as a teacher and reluctantly signs up for an MMA tournament where he realizes his brother is also taking part. On the other hand, Tommy suffers from intense PTSD following his time in the military, taking up professional fighting under the tutelage of his father, who had unexpectedly re-entered his life hoping to mend their strained relationship. relationship. The film builds to its final match, where both brothers have to face each other. Seeing the struggles of both characters makes it hard to choose a side, as both characters were aiming for the top spot for their own separate reasons, resulting in a tear-jerking conclusion to their conflict. Moving on, there's Inception. Hardy's first collaboration with the legendary director Christopher Nolan would help establish a long and fruitful partnership. Most of Nolan's storylines are pretty complex, especially those featuring high concepts such as the case with Inception, and his cast of memorable characters is just one of the ways he manages to keep audiences interested in watching stories that require a lot of attention to understand. The film revolves around a compelling emotional through line with Leonardo DiCaprio's iconic dream thief Dominic Cobb aiming to pull off a seemingly impossible heist in order to return to living with his children. However, the dash of humor Hardy's character adds to the story helps prevent the film from becoming too overly melodramatic. Hardy's character, Ames, is an impersonator hired by Cobbs to help the team create brand new identities while entering different levels of their target's dream. He's an instrumental character to the team, helping them deceive Fisher, whose decision to dissolve his father's business determined the success of the heist. However, Ames was a late addition to the team, and as such is skeptical of Cobb, doubting his ability to perform the complex procedure of Inception, frequently sparring with his established crew, and is fond of teasing Arthur in particular. Hardy helped lighten the mood throughout the film, and his witty banter, shared with Gordon-Levitt, is some of the most hilarious parts of the film, even amidst all the dreamlike chaos. He's an important part of fleshing out the world of the film, and adds a lot towards making it an enjoyable watch for audiences. Coming up next is The Revenant. Even though he's frequently referred to as one of the best actors of his generation, Hardy had never even been nominated for an Academy Award until receiving a nod as Best Supporting Actor for his performance in this epic drama. The beautifully created masterpiece by director Alejandro González Iñárritu is best recognized for Leonardo DiCaprio's lead performance, which finally managed to win him an Oscar for pushing his body beyond its limits. However, for a story this amazing, you need an equally fantastically memorable villain, which Tom Hardy steps up to provide, portraying one of the most despicable, irredeemable characters in recent cinematic history. Some even believe that Hardy's performance in The Revenant outshone Leo's. The film revolves around the story of Hugh Glass, a member of a group of trappers who traveled across the snowy forests of the Dakotas back in the 1820s. And after being critically injured during a vicious bear attack, his men decide that carrying him back to safety wasn't worth the trouble, leaving him behind to die. However, Glass begins to build back his strength after he witnesses one of the men, the coward John Fitzgerald, murder his son in cold blood. Pun not intended. This results in DiCaprio's character embarking on a grueling journey across the wilderness to avenge the death of his son while treating his wounds himself. All the while, Fitzgerald masks his villainous deeds by claiming that the father and son had died of natural causes. Hardy did a superb job of playing an unlikable man, one whose cruelty was the driving force of DiCaprio's quest. The blood-pumping finale pits the two mortal enemies against each other, allowing both stars to engage in a remorseless battle where chivalry is all but left behind. Although Hardy deserves to have many more Oscar nominations by now, his first was understandably for this chilling performance. Pun not intended. Finally, at the top of our list, there's Mad Max: Fury Road. Although it's considered to be one of the greatest action movies ever made, the film was in no way a guaranteed success. Not only had it been 3 decades since the previous film in the series, Beyond Thunderdome, but it had also been stuck in development hell for years, its production rife with troubles. Fans were also worried about having a new actor take up the role of Max Rokitansky, while others feel that the aging Miller couldn't create a satisfying sequel after having spent an entire decade making Happy Feet films. Now that's called range. However, Hardy and Miller defied all odds, presenting a game-changing masterpiece responsible for some of the most innovative action sequences to ever grace the big screen. The desert-ridden post-apocalyptic hellscape was brought to life in vivid detail, with Hardy's reluctant antihero at the center of all the chaos. While most of the film focuses on Charlize Theron's performance as Imperator Furiosa, Hardy is just as important to the success of the film, with the character choosing to aid Furiosa after being passed around as a blood bag by the minions of Immortan Joe, the dictator of the said hellscape. Hardy's outstanding performance makes this film an all-time classic, and we certainly can't wait for the upcoming sequel in 2023. That's a wrap for this video. Do you agree with our list? And are there any other Tom Hardy films that you think should have been featured in this video? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our our channel for more videos like this.
See you in the next one.